Okay, today we're going to be looking at replacing the battery within a Game Boy game, because the likes of the Pokemon ones, they just have terrible batteries that, well, they run out within no time. Now the battery inside is one of these ones, the kind of CR2032 ones. Now these come with tags on them already to kind of solder them into place, so we're going to look at placing in a new one of these straight into the cartridge so we can start saving the games again. Now what we'll need is a game bit screw head. Now this is the 3.8mm one. There are other ones, the 4.5mm one, but the one we need for Game Boy cartridges is this 3.8mm one. So as well, obviously we'll need the new battery, a soldering iron, some solder, and preferably something like this to hold onto the cartridge. So the first thing to do is, with our cartridge, if you look on the back, there's a game bit screw. We're going to use the screwdriver to get that out. I'll put this in a safe place because they are a pain if you lose them. Now the key to opening the Game Boy cartridge is not to yank it open, but first you slide down the top and then you can release it. So as you can see, the battery at the top in place. Now the most important thing to note is the position of this. Now you'll see the tag running along the top. You want to make sure your battery is in, the new battery is placed in the identical position as this one. Otherwise you'll get the positive and negative the wrong way around and you won't be able to save your game. So we just take that out. I'm going to place this into our holder. So basically what we need to do is desolder the battery and remove it. Now this can be done by heating up the solder points and slowly working the battery out. So we'll wait for the soldering iron to heat up and then we'll continue. Okay, so we're all ready to go now. The soldering iron's all heated up. So we're first going to attack the top solder point. Now if you just put the soldering iron very lightly on there, you'll see all the solder starts to move, and you can see we can move the battery already. So using the screwdriver, slowly prise up the battery and separate the metal tag on the battery from the solder. So that's the first one done. Now do the same again with the bottom one. Kind of lean it up with the screwdriver and it's gone. So we no longer need that battery. So if you remember, the key point now was to make sure that the replacement battery went on in the same way. So in this case it's this way with the tag pointing upwards. So I'm just going to position this down so the battery can sit nicely and we just solder in place. So if we just lean it on top, don't worry about it being slightly wonky for now, because once we heat up the solder points the battery will kind of fall into place. So with that in mind, almost put a bit of pressure on with the screwdriver and just heat up the solder to slowly melt it in place. Whoops. Okay, so we're getting there. Okay, so when it's slightly in place, we're going to use a bit more solder to hold it in. So with the soldering iron again and some solder, just melts them into place. You might find it slips around a bit like that, but that's not a worry because you can use a bit more solder to kind of extend the connection. However, if it moves that far out, you have a problem. So like before, just find out where it's sticking and you can lift it up again and just keep repositioning it until you have it in place. Because you'll find as well, once you solder the first blob in, it'll hold it in place for the other blob. So just make sure that the tags and the solder are connecting. I apologise, it's not the neatest job. So that should theoretically be more than enough. So if you take a close look, you'll see both the battery points are now soldered in. Okay, so if we now take that out, we're going to place it back into the cartridge and just slide it up. So yeah, taking our screw, screw it back in place. It's time to test. Okay, so we're now at the point in the game where we can save and find out if it works. So let's have a look. Okay, so turning off the Game Boy, cartridge is out, and back in. And let's take a look. And there we have it. Our save game is there, and it loads perfectly fine. So that, my friends, is how you replace a battery within a Game Boy cartridge and get saving again.